Hello, everyone.
Hi, this episode is about, well, originally perfection paralysis, but it kind of turned into negative self-talk and what we view ourselves as internally versus externally. And
Kind of a therapy session for me. If you want to get episodes early and help support us, please join our memberships on glitteringcatlitter.com or on YouTube.
like and subscribe and enjoy.
Glittering cat litter.
Glittering cat litter.
I don't think I'm a perfectionist at all. I really don't. And I backtracked myself in my own notes because I was like, wait, does that mean I'm a perfectionist? But people always say, they're like, oh, people assume I'm a perfectionist.
I still don't believe that you're not a perfectionist.
I really don't think I am, though, because I know people who are perfectionists, and it's like, if it's not right, I can't release it. It has to be perfect. And I'm thinking of it in terms of content, but like, I think I've grasped the fact that it's never going to be perfect, and I'm always going to want it to be more. And that's what like moving on and doing things in the future will hopefully bring, is like you get better and better and better. But there comes a time when it's like, okay, I've done what I can right now. It is as good as it is going to get, which I guess is kind of settling, but like it's as good as it's going to be right now. Let's release it and move on. And I feel like I don't have that thing in me that's like, no, I have to keep like grinding at it.
So you're just constantly settling.
Yes.
And do you think that's better than striving for something more perfect?
I think there's a nice middle ground in there that like the next one will hopefully be better.
But then what happens when you settle for it to be just as okay as the last
Well,
one?
no, hopefully not.
No, I'm
done
saying
that.
when you do that. I'm not asking if you're doing it. I'm saying when you do it, what are you thinking then? Like, because,
Damn, I need to do better on the next one.
But how does that, how does that make you, like, not how does it make you feel? Like, how is that okay? Like, how are you comfortable with just being like, yeah, well, it's just whatever?
That's a really good question.
You teed it up.
Yeah.
Can I answer it?
Half of this conversation is me trying to figure out what goes on in my brain, because I genuinely like, I sat down and I was like, no, I don't think I am. And then I was like trying to go through my process of starting something and completing it and like all of that. And I was like, I don't know. Do you think you're a perfectionist?
I think I used to be.
I think you used to be too. Why don't you think you are now?
Because I'm tired.
I'm just tired. I'm just tired. Well, okay, so you kind of went through this because you were releasing music. Was it every day for a while?
Dude, I'm tired.
Sorry, I asked you and you yawned. He's legitimately tired.
I am pretty tired today. I don't know. This week. I feel, yes.
It's Wednesday. Okay, we're halfway through. I was like, the
Still
week
tired.
just started.
Yeah, it did kind of. But it's just almost over too.
When you were releasing music, was it every day?
No, I did that for a month.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't really releasing. It was just making it every day. I guess I was also in turn releasing it every day.
So like we've talked about this before of like the never ending like wheel of creating content. It's like you feel like you have to produce so much over and over and over, and it really should be quality over quantity. But you also have to get your stuff out there, and in order to do that and get it in people's faces nonstop, there has to be a lot of it. So I feel like that cycle actually breaks the perfectionism, because it's like you literally don't have the time to be perfect. Like you have to get the content out.
Yeah. Well, wait, where is this going though with that?
I'm saying I feel like that kind of broke your perfectionism.
Oh, yeah. I think that relating to the music, I think that I was trying so hard to. I guess I was trying to treat it kind of like how you would treat going to like exercise, where I was just like, well, if I do it enough, it'll be easier later.
Which is kind of true.
Sorta, not really though.
Well,
Like, or at least not in this sense.
It broke you.
It didn't go well, then went well. But I think that in the way that I did it, well, I didn't do anything special. I literally just wrote music and released it like every day, and then was like, well, maybe I can sustain this by writing a few songs a month, which is not that sustain for anybody who writes music or is creative in any form like that. Making yourself sustainably making 3 to 7 of whatever your craft is a month. That's a lot. Like when you have to come up with the idea, figure out how to make it real, go make it real, make it good enough that people actually might care about it, make it good enough for you to care about it, do all the rest of the process, have all of the promotional anything done by the time it needs to be out, and then be still excited about it to share it with people. And I got through 8 or 9 months of that, and it like slowly started to get less music and less stuff. And then I just kind of like, I couldn't keep going. I was like, this is too much.
I want to backtrack to when you said that wasn't special. You weren't doing anything special.
No,
come on.
Okay, hold on, time out. The special was not what I was, not discrediting what I was doing. I'm saying like the practicality of what I was doing was not something special. I was like, I'm going to write this much music and I'm going to release it every month. It was not that like,
yeah.
I'm fighting a losing battle on that, but I don't know how else to describe that other than like, I didn't mean it as like what I do isn't special. I meant it as like, I just, the quantifiable actions are not a special thing, because you just like take your craft, go do it, but do it too much and then burn out and then don't do it again for a long time.
I've been toying with the idea of making like a YouTube video every day. And
this makes me, I'm already tired. I wish this was coffee.
I didn't say you make the video. I was saying me, but
it still makes me tired.
I am like, yeah, that's a great idea. And it's also a really horrible idea, because it's a great idea because I kind of need something like that to get me out of a kind of, not even a creative rut, but just like get the wheels turning. Yes. I thought you were going to hit a fly or something. I didn't know you had a question.
No, I have a statement. Hey, remember what I just talked about and how my life just, you remember?
So hopefully when this comes out, when people actually hear this and see this, I just have a nice flow of really good YouTube videos. It's not every day. It's every week.
It could be every day. But if that's your nice flow.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. Because I'm afraid of exactly what you just said. Like, I want it to get the wheels turning. I want to be able to tell really good stories. But then the smart part of my brain goes, okay, you want to tell really good stories. That takes some time. It takes planning. It takes filming. It takes editing. It takes time.
But also it doesn't.
Exactly. So the other crazy part of my brain goes, yeah, let's do it.
But in it taking time, it's because you're not good at it yet. But then in it not taking time is when you're good at it, it's second nature. Think about you putting on your skates and going and skating. How long does that take you?
Seconds.
How long does it take you to deal with the like stories and other stuff?
Forever.
See the difference in how much time you've spent on the things? That's the difference.
You're telling me I just have to do it over and over and over, but not necessarily rush it to be every day.
Well, when you rush it, you're not learning anything.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, is like, at least that's what I noticed with music, or at least when I was doing the song a day for all of December, which is the worst month to have tried that. There's so many things happening. And in my family, there's like over a week's worth of birthdays, and then you have Christmas and holidays and Disneyland. Did we have passes then?
Yep.
Okay. And then like that was dumb.
Yeah.
It was the worst idea I could. Well, it was a great idea, but
It
horrible
was a great
timing.
idea and a terrible idea.
But I should have done that some other month. But I think you're trying to make yourself feel or be better at all the things you are striving to be better at, but treating it as if it's skating that you've done your whole life.
That is a problem that I have. Yes.
Because you saying like, oh, I could go make a YouTube video every day or like a vlog every day. Well, in theory, you could. In action, not really though. And then also like, what else are you not doing that you probably should be doing? Everything? Because there's no way you're going to edit that in time with anything else in your life.
Yeah.
Like functional.
But then like the perfection paralysis in this sense does show up because it's like I am so fearful of even getting started because I want it to be good.
But then you just said you weren't a perfectionist.
I don't think I am. Like the whole, like me as a being, I don't think is a perfectionist.
How does a non-perfectionist go to win 4 world championship titles?
They weren't perfect. My routines weren't perfect.
Were you pissed off that they weren't perfect?
No, I just like put a little spin on it when it didn't work out.
But were you mad about it when you're putting the spin on it?
I think my coach was more mad at me. But yeah. To answer your question, yes.
Because I feel like you're like, I'm not a perfectionist, tries to do everything perfect.
I think that it's true that like when someone's good at something, they're a perfectionist. I don't think that's true. I think you can work really hard for a really long time and like get to be really good without being a perfectionist.
I'm not arguing that you have to be a perfectionist because you won 4 world titles. I'm wondering why a 4 world title winner is not a perfectionist. Because at some point you have to be so concerned about perfecting your craft to be able to get to the point where you literally are better than everyone else.
Yeah.
At least in my head, that's where I'm going with this.
No,
You don't have to like be the like most poisonous negative form of that.
Yeah,
but
that's what I think of. Okay, so I think this is where my brain is connecting these now that you're saying that, because I think like of perfectionism as it has to be perfect before I can do anything or like while I'm doing anything. The setting has to be perfect. This has to be perfect. All of it has to line up.
I mean, that's the definition of it.
And that's never going to happen.
Well, I think you've experienced enough of it not happening that you are comfortable with saying it's not going to happen now.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm more curious, like, when you were competing in skating, or like the practices, that there's no way that you had practices or all your practices, you were like a sane, perfectly minded teenager.
No, they were horrible.
Uh-huh. Why were they horrible?
Because I was really hard on myself.
Because of what? It not being perfect?
I wanted to be better than I was.
But are you using the word better in place of perfect?
Yes.
Okay. So I think...
But I knew it wasn't going to be perfect. I knew I wasn't going to be perfect.
Well, sure, but striving for perfection and...
Perfection's a really terrible word.
Why?
Because nothing is ever perfect.
Let's rewind back to her stupid remark about mother effing diner coffee. This really bad cup of coffee, utter perfection. Except you have to go caffeinate before, after, and in between. You have the diner coffee, which literally means not perfect.
Okay, things are... Can you think of anything in your life, a situation, anything, aside from me, of course, that is perfect?
Yeah, me.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Like, of course, things line up, situations happen, that everything like comes together and it's amazing. But perfect?
I mean, every once in a while, something comes out pretty perfect.
I don't know. I have a hard time with that word.
Why?
I don't really know. Because like when I'm saying perfectionism, like I know people who are perfectionists and it is debilitating for them.
Right. And I mean, that's kind of the point of why I wanted to talk about it, because I feel like we've both been there, but you don't. We have a
I
denialer.
don't want to be there.
We have a denialer. I don't know if that's a word.
I don't think it is.
I like it though. It's
A
kind of a fun
person
word.
in denial. Hi.
She's a denialer.
It's me.
Hi, I'm denialer. uh, yeah, the being perfect is yes. I mean, I guess people who are very religious would say that like God or their God or their higher being would in theory be perfect. I feel like in science and math there is perfect or correct. Maybe less science. Science might be wrong.
This is a big topic to dive
I know
into.
math, you have to have a correct answer. Otherwise, it's like, well, it's either right or wrong. It's not really like you're mostly right. Like that doesn't work in math.
It's black and white.
But like, I don't know. As far as like perfect, you can. I guess if you're critical enough with anything, you'll find a flaw in it. But like this little Lego nub cup, I think it's pretty perfect. Except it's upside down, so I'd have to flip it so that it'd be the correct way.
And that would spill all of your liquid.
Yes, I don't want to do that. These floppy disks.
Perfect.
They're pretty perfect as coasters.
I don't know. That's a really interesting thought. But like, okay, so when you were writing about this, writing your notes and stuff,
yeah,
you were talking about it in context of like creating, right?
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, this podcast has really made me realize. Really, I said really a lot of times right there.
Really, this podcast has really made me realize.
Really,
that I really.
This podcast has made me realize that I think about most things very creatively. Kind of shocking, right? Very shocking, I think. No, it's been very interesting because I comparatively, I'm far more logical, and I think far more critically than you do. Which that one is, every time I think that or say that, I feel like it's very. I don't like poisonous. It's very like vindictive, but it's not. Me saying it is not.
It, though, yeah.
My brain critically thinks better than your brain,
and I think that is what slows you down.
I disagree.
Really?
Only
go on. Say more.
Well, now I've lost where I was.
Oh man, I messed him up.
No. Okay. In my head, I don't think as creatively as I do, I guess. I think in my head, I see myself more logically, more black and white, more realistically processing lots of things. But when I write it down and then I go away from it for a few days and then I come back and read it, I go, I literally wrote this about creativity because that's the best thing I can relate it to, because everything else just kind of is like whatever, I can do it. And I don't know if that has any relation to I'm quite good at a lot of things and I'm really good at like tasks and task management, and I'm handy and all that stuff, which has become very funny. Side note, that's become very funny as I've gotten older, and I don't know if I look older or younger, or if people are just learning that when you ask them a question of like how easy is something to do, like yourself, they don't just answer like, yeah, it's not hard. They used to answer that way. Now they're answering like, it depends how good you are at doing things. So
That yeah.
I don't know if it's because I'm older or because people have learned that they can't say yes, because if someone can't change a light bulb, but they say that they can change their car air filter, this is what
I
it's
think
related
it's
to.
from people learning that people can't do that.
That would make sense
Yeah.
because I feel like most technicians would say like, "Oh, all this stuff is really easy compared to the harder stuff that I have to deal with." So yes, you could totally do it. But then when someone doesn't understand how to read a schematic or like how to follow steps, like it becomes difficult. Like I know people, you don't fall under this, but I don't remember where I was, but I was somewhere where someone brought up IKEA and how bad they said the IKEA manuals were.
Yeah, we were together because I remember that too.
Interesting, because I don't know. Anyway, I was like, I actually have no problem at all with the IKEA manuals. And I go,
I actually don't
sure,
either. Oh, I
that
just
was
spilled my coffee.
that was wild.
Why did I punch my cup?
But when whoever said that, I was like, huh, your brain clearly does not process the IKEA building manual well.
And that's
Which
not a bad thing.
no, it's just your
It's
brain's
just
different.
yeah.
And I went, okay. But it was very interesting how it was related because I was like, you related it as if everyone is exactly the same as you and everyone hates the IKEA manuals. And I'm like, honestly, the IKEA manuals are great. It's very little paper. It's massively straightforward. It's kind of like building a Lego. It's like straightforward, but also not really straightforward. Like you got to
Yeah.
count the little dots on the things to find the right piece when there's like four that are almost the same size. You're like, I put the wrong one on.
I have no problem with IKEA manuals, but I go so much slower than you.
Yeah, yes. I am I think that I'm far more than proficient with like
Mhm.
handiwork and building stuff, and I always used to downplay it, and I actually used to think I couldn't do it. And then us owning this home, it makes it very easy. I mean, I put
I
this
mean,
wall up.
it made it very obvious that you are capable of building things.
Yes. Like I put this wall up. I built this IKEA table. I built these IKEA chairs. I wish I could say I built my iPad, but that's
I helped
not.
with the chair.
You did help with the chair.
Probably one chair,
Well, it's
actually,
like
while
you.
he built the other one.
It's like you and Scarlett both kind of handle like IKEA and Legos the same.
Mhm.
You can't really like compartmentalize steps forward. So like when I was building the Lego with Scar, I was like, okay, if you can, because I can put these on and make sure it goes the right way and make sure that I use enough pressure so that it stays together really well.
Yeah.
But if you can go like this step and a couple steps forward and always be ahead of me, the piles will just be like a conveyor belt to me. And
Yeah.
it'll work. We'll go through this really fast. But she had a really hard time with, well, one, it's always hard to find the Lego pieces in the giant pile. So
Yeah.
like, that's hard enough. And when we're building one that's like 1,600 pieces, it's like, it's so many pieces. But she had a hard time like being on the page and then skipping to the next one and then setting a new pile. She like had to see the task through.
Mhm.
She couldn't be like, cool, he'll finish the rest. Cool, he'll finish the rest. It was very like, got it. When are you ready? And I was
Yeah.
like, you can keep going. And she's like, when are you ready? I'm like, okay, I'll be ready in a second. I was like, it doesn't matter. It's like Legos, it's fun. But
Yeah.
it's very like, it's very interesting to see like how your like people's brains process stuff. And I feel like I don't really have that problem so much. Like I'm not so crazy that like I start a task and sprint the other way on something else.
I
But
am.
like I know. But like I definitely can start on a task. No, this is one that I've had to be working on a lot because of the uploading videos and stuff. I used to just stare at it and wait for it.
Yeah.
That's the worst. But I mean,
Mhm.
now also we're uploading such giant files that
You would be staring for
like
hours.
this video when it goes up is probably going to be like 24 gigs. If that means anything to you, if it doesn't mean anything to you, then that's okay. But it's basically with our absolute trash internet, it takes like I think like 6 hours to
Yeah.
upload. So it's like I could sit there for 6 hours and do nothing, or I can go do something for the time, or upload overnight. Hopefully, that's
Yeah.
the best. Or when there's like 6 of these that we upload at the same time, it's like 130 or 140 gigs of just files going out to the world.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's really interesting to
We sidetracked, and I never got back to
Get back.
my thought, and now I can't remember where my thought was going
Oh,
because I got sidetracked. We were talking about my brain and how I logically.
yes.
So I used to think that I was just like for a long time. This is kind of the pendulum of it. I was like just creative.
Mhm.
And then I realized that when I was talking to people that were just creative, I didn't really relate to them very well because I'm not just creative. And I'm not just creative in one thing, which I definitely don't relate well to people with.
Mhm.
And then for a long time, I think just in all the circumstances, I went to I'm just logical. Like nothing I'm doing is creative. And like, which I feel like maybe some of you that are watching or listening would be like, but Taylor, you literally take photos and videos and things, and that's not logic at all. And I would say, you're wrong, because to use that camera, I have to know all the science behind how the whole thing functions. And then because of how fast I learned or how much I had to do, it was very much just like, okay, you know the technicality, go. As long as it's in the frame, it's fine. And then that was kind of me not realizing the like nuance of having an eye for it.
Also, you were creating it for a while. You were creating it for someone else, not for yourself, which I think is a different part of your brain.
I'm going to say no, only because it was I would have done the same thing regardless.
Okay.
Like, even if it was for someone else, I don't see that I would have shot it different unless I was
Okay.
blatantly told or like very specifically told, you have to shoot it this way. And then at that point, then my creative comes out and goes like, then why am I here? Because I'm like, if you're going to tell me how to
Which
shoot it
he's
the
done
way,
with me.
yeah, if you're going to tell me how to shoot it the way that you want to shoot it, but you're bringing me because you trust me, then why am I here? Because you don't want me to do what I do?
We've
But you
had that
want to-
conversation in the past because I was like, okay, I need it like this. I need you to move the camera like this. And he was like, okay, so I'm literally just holding the camera and doing exactly what you tell me to do. Cool. Like that's not.
But it's
that's not
depending.
fun.
Well, it's not. Depending on what the situation is, that changes,
Yes.
right? Like if there's a specific shot, it might be a duh.
Yeah.
You know, like where else would the camera have gone? Like there's not a better way. Like there's no other way to do that. Like if you're copying something or, taking inspiration from something and this is the shot, you don't have to tell me copy the camera movement. It's like, well, obviously, like what else am I supposed to do? Like put the lens cap on while we're shooting it? No. Like
Please don't.
But I think that my pendulum went from super creative, like thinking that I'm just creative to thinking I'm just logical, and like all the science and like mathematical factual side of it. Scientific, it's not really, well, it is math. I don't know the math. Don't ask that.
Never asked Taylor the math.
Can't tell you anything. I can tell you can Google it. But then now, or like as we're writing all of this, I feel like it's very much so just coming back to like, yes, I'm logical, but everything that I relate the logic to happens to be stemmed in some form of creative that at least makes it relatable. But then sometimes when I'm writing it, I'm like, oh shoot, is this like super unrelatable to people who aren't creative? But then I go, well, let's argue with you and say, I don't think you're not creative. So
I just had a realization. I think that so in my past, people who knew me in like skating and when I started teaching and all of that would say I was very realistic. Like I was a realist. People would come to me with grand ideas. Like the optimists would tell me something, the pessimists would tell me something, and I would always find the middle ground to get it done and do it and make it as best as it could be.
okay.
Now that I work with you, you're the realist.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to be the hopeful, oh, here's my big grand idea. And part of me is like, let me just spill everything out and like aim for the biggest thing. And then you bring me down to earth of what can actually happen.
Yeah.
And I think that is it's been a problem because I don't think I realized I was doing that until literally this moment. And then I was like, why are you tearing me down? Why are you making it so that I can't do these things? And you aren't. You're like, okay, Nicole, between this time and this time, you can't do all of these things. It is not possible.
Yeah.
And I think that is an interesting aspect to our relationship that I'm just now figuring out.
Well, glad that it's later than never.
It's been 10 years.
Yes, that makes sense. I also don't know that when people think about like, you know, when people like reminisce on their childhood or whatever, or being a teenager or kid, and it's like, oh, I had big dreams or whatever. And, you know, I'm not trying to make it like a negative thing. I'm just saying that's kind of where my head goes. I think about it and I go, I don't think I ever had big dreams. Now, hold on before you go, oh, no, I had huge, realistic, tactile dreams that I already knew. And I don't want to make this sound like I was so calculated and a genius. I had very tactile ways that I was like confident in something that I could achieve with the goal or dream. Like, let's take like me playing guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had many ways, or like writing music. I had like 5 different paths that I was lining up to help me go become like just a touring musician or in a band that would tour and could be successful. Obviously, I can't make all of that happen if I'm with a band that doesn't do good music. Wow. Doesn't write good music, doesn't work well together and all that, and isn't going to work. Yeah. Obviously, that is required. But like that was one of them. But also while I was doing that, I was very conscious and confident in learning the computer side of it and like being able to record it and being able to do more than just guitar. Mm-hmm. One, out of like my desire to create stuff and do it myself because studios are expensive. But then 2, out of like, well, if I'm not always just touring, I could be writing, I could be doing other, you know, so it was like very tactile. Like, mm-hmm. This is the goal. This is why I'm doing it. This is only going to help everything in my situation. So when I think of like big dreams, I guess if I take away the whole logical side of me, I go, well, yeah, I full on had big dreams. But then you go the big dreams or big dreams immediately after. And then it's like, yeah, but then you made it logical in like a way that you could potentially achieve those. Right?
Yeah. I would say that I don't know. It's hard because I remember distinctly like the one like core memory of that was just like a terrible feeling, but it was so helpful was when I decided that I wanted to try to go to the World Championships. That was insane to me. That was like not even win the World Championships. That was not even on my radar, like at all. It was just to qualify to go.
But what was insane about it? Just the fact that it was so big?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
To me, that was like the ultimate goal in life.
Well, I mean, I think for anyone that's in a competitive sport to go win the world, it's kind of a big deal.
But I'm saying it wasn't even to win. It was just to go, to compete there.
There is still
like,
a big deal.
To win, when we talk about like when we not on camera or anything, when we talk about like how we process things, how we set goals, how we achieve them, all of that, it's weird for me to look back because I don't ever remember being like, yeah, I could win that. I can win the World Championships. Not until I had done it did I think I could do it. Like I remember on the bus at the World Championships, my first year in Australia, on the bus, Hector and I were in first and second after the dance. And my little 14, 15-year-old brain had not even processed that like, oh my God. I think I was so terrified that I couldn't actually process anything. I was just like on autopilot of doing my stuff. And this is why they say to practice, because it's all just, I don't have any memory of it. And doing it, like, it's all autopilot for your body at that point when you're that terrified. But Hector looked at me and he was like, I think we can do this. I think we can win. Like, I think one of us, and he was hoping he would win, obviously. He's like, I think one of us can get first and the other one can get second.
Did he get second?
Yeah. And I looked at him and I was like, I don't think so. Like, I don't think so. And that was that whole year for me and previous years was my coaches telling me thinking I couldn't do it, me being like just oblivious to the situation, just like on autopilot doing what I needed to do, knowing deep down like I needed to do these things in order to improve. But my coaches constantly telling me, why don't you think you can do this? You can do this. You're going to do this. And me not believing it my entire life. That's how it was. And that's how it still is. You are the one telling me that I can do it. And deep down, I'm like, I can't do that.
Was that, so would you, I don't know if that would be perfection paralysis for you, or is it you're too scared of being perfect? Is that part of it? I'm trying to relate it into it, which doesn't have to relate. It could honestly just be more imposter syndrome than anything. But would it be imposter syndrome, or is it you're scared of being too perfect to actually achieve it?
Well, you know what I mean. Scared of being too perfect.
No, you know what I mean. Too perfect is like getting too good to be perfect. I don't know. How many
episodes am I going to start crying?
Every single one. Just don't write it off.
Goodness. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
The point is to talk about it.
It's like, I think it's all just fear.
But of what? That's what I'm trying to get to. Because it's clearly not the fear of going out there and performing. That's not the fear.
It's fear of having these hopes and dreams and goals and not meeting them.
So you have,
which I think we all fear.
Goal paralysis? Same thing?
Yeah.
I guess.
I'm
just trying to get you to say that you are some form of a perfectionist this whole time.
I don't know. But like, that's, people always say like, oh, I had these big dreams and like I reached them. I was like constantly, I can't do that. There's no way I can do that.
I mean, and that's not a bad place to be, but
I kept trying, but I kept doing it.
But how much better would you have been if you thought you could do it or knew you could do it?
We'll never know. Well, maybe at some point I'll actually believe I can do something and do it. And then I'll be able to report back.
That's kind of the idea.
Oh gosh, that's so scary.
Why? I don't understand what's so scary about that.
The brain is complicated.
But like just being able to go do something because you're too scared that like you can't do it.
Well, let me tell you, the paralysis that happened after I actually did win it was far worse than ever not believing in myself. The like pressure to do it again, that was a lot for me. That's when I started like getting sick before I went out there, like all that stuff that my body was like actually freaking out.
I mean, that makes sense though. Yeah. Like when I get that.
I feel like I was better off, and this is not going to sound like encouraging at all. This is going to sound really terrible, but I feel like the younger me, and still sometimes me, current me, it's like I was more comfortable being in a state of like not believing I can do it so that I never failed. But in reality, I was constantly failing because I wasn't.
Are you hearing what you're saying?
Yes. I told you. What is the thing that you told me from that book? I haven't gotten there yet in the book of the like you're comfortable being.
You're comfortable in your failure because because it's known.
Yeah.
You're more comfortable because you know, even if you're failing, you'd rather fail because you know you're failing and it's comfortable than trying and actually succeeding and being more comfortable because you don't know and it's unknown.
That's
But that's not
me.
what I'm asking if you're hearing. Do you know that you just said the words? You just said the words that I have said to you for at least 3 years.
You guys, he's not wrong. He has told me this for a very long time. Yes, I do realize that.
You
I love you. I love you so much.
It's not that. It's that you're, you know.
But like, okay, so this is the stuff that like
it's better
people
sometime than never, I guess.
I've had so much success in so many things that I've done, but the like behind the scenes stress and like literally this, like me not believing that it can come together, me not believing it can happen, it's constant. It's amazing to me when I actually do like produce the thing and it comes out, and it's like amazing because I know how much doubt went into it.
It's all self-inflicted though.
100%.
And let me clear this up just in case it wasn't clear already. I'm not instilling the doubt.
No, not at all. But what I did no, what I said earlier of like, I start out with all these hopes and dreams. I don't start out. Well, no, I do start out with the doubt. Okay. When I start.
This has turned into just a full-blown therapy session.
It has. When I start out with the idea, it's grand. It's huge. And you are the one that goes, okay, let's bring this back to reality.
Well, I go, what do we have that can actually make this grand? I don't have, we don't have money to budget a feature film worth of production crew for your idea.
Well, why not?
Because you haven't even told me the idea. Also, I have never tried to sell that to someone. I don't have any idea how that would happen.
There's no way to know until you do it. I'm not saying we should do that. I'm saying there's literally no way to know.
I'm saying my face is because you sit here and doubt yourself and tell yourself no on 100 things. You're literally just saying all the words I say to you when the camera's not on.
Not on purpose.
But you're literally saying it. I'm losing my marbles here. That you...
Oh my gosh.
I literally cannot function with how much you are saying the things that I've been trying to get you to understand and say to yourself for forever.
Well, hey, it's working now. You should be happy about that.
I'm not mad about it. I'm more just like, this is what it took?
Yeah.
God, we just need to set this up more often.
Well, we're doing it every week.
Yeah, but more often apparently. You need it more. We gotta wrap this baby up. You're bleeding mascara and all sorts.
Am I really?
Yeah. Yeah, you got the mascara bleeding. I said that mostly because it's an Atreyu song that's just like.
Really? Didn't Atreyu go to our high school? Is that Atreyu?
Yeah. Half of them went to our high school, and then another one went to El Dorado, and then I think one of their moms works at Esperanza or El Dorado, our high school. No, we didn't go to El Dorado.
We didn't.
Whatever. I don't know anything about that school, but apparently we don't like them.
I had a lot of friends that went there. I liked them. They were fun.
They got a better theater.
I didn't have much like loyalty to my school.
I don't have any loyalty to my school.
Okay, yeah. I'll stop crying. How long have we been filming?
Like 40 minutes or so, I think.
Is that enough?
It's probably a good time to wrap this one up because you got to fix your makeup. I don't have anywhere to go off of just being completely distraught out of you finally hearing the things that I have been trying to tell you. Do you think this will be
helpful to anyone? Me losing it?
I think there's some little nuggets in there.
Nuggets.
And they're not from Taylor this time. Well, indirectly.
No,
they're all from Taylor. Indirectly spoken through Nicole.
Well, I hope that's helpful. I don't intend to cry on every podcast. I'm gonna be real, but I'm gonna try not to
I feel like
do that.
you've only cried on like, I don't know, not even half of them.
This therapy session has been helpful. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for coming to our public therapy session.
It's been nice. I
All
feel
right.
good.
If you like what we're doing here, please subscribe. Please, if you really want to support us, we'd be very grateful. We have memberships that you can get episodes early. It is on the YouTube channel under memberships and on our website, glitterandcatlitter.com.
And I'm going to try to be more positive with myself.
You all should too.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Bye.